Hi everyone, I decided to make this quick video to clarify how to describe certain graphs based on how they look. So the first one I have here is a decreasing at a constant rate. So we've learned about this before, and it's basically a straight line that has a negative slope. Remember, you always read a graph from left to right. So from left to right, I see that I'm going down the slide, not up the mountain, right? So we can say that this is decreasing at a constant rate. And usually you'll have something labeled on the x-axis. It's typically time on the x-axis. And then on the y, you would have some other variable like water usage or, something like that. So this line you could describe as decreasing at a constant rate. Taking a look at the next one, this one here is increasing at a constant rate. Again, you read the graph from left to right. So as time goes by, and again, usually the x-axis is time. As time increases or as time goes by, something is increasing at a constant rate. So you could have some variable here, and you can make up your own story. Like maybe it's the amount of food that's consumed increases. Here we have an example of a curved graph. And anytime you have curves, you're going to be talking about either increasing or decreasing rates. So when you have curves, that's your hint right away that you know you're talking about either an increasing rate or a decreasing rate. Now, reading this graph from left to right, you can see that it is still going upwards. So we know it's increasing, right? It is increasing. But because it's getting more vertical, you can tell that it's increasing at an increasing rate. The slope is getting steeper, right? So it's increasing at an increasing rate. So if you wanted to add some notes for yourself, the note I typed out is it's an increasing rate because the line is getting more and more vertical, right? Increasing at a constant rate, if you go back, looks like this, right? Straight. But increasing at an increasing rate is getting more and more vertical. Take a look at this next slide. This one's increasing at a decreasing rate, and you know that it's increasing because it's still going up from left to right. However, it starts off pretty steep, and then as time goes by, it gets less and less steep, right? So again, if you wanted to put a note for yourself here, it's a decreasing rate because the line is getting more and more horizontal. Okay. Then you have something that's decreasing at an increasing rate. So from left to right, the graph is going downwards, but it's getting more and more vertical downwards. So again, anytime you see that the line is getting more vertical, you know it's going to be an increasing rate. Okay, so it's decreasing at an increasing rate because the line of the graph is getting more and more vertical downwards, right? Just add that in. Finally, we have this one here, which is decreasing at a decreasing rate. So if you look at the graph, it is going downwards still, but it's curved. You start off going downwards more vertically, and then it starts to flatten out. So that's your clue that it's decreasing at a decreasing rate. Because remember how we talked about before, decreasing rate because the line is getting more and more horizontal. So again, this line is getting more and more horizontal. That's how you know it's decreasing at a decreasing rate. So decreasing at a decreasing rate because the line is getting more and more horizontal downwards. Now, what I would encourage you to do is go through each graph again from this video. So you're going to scroll back, rewind, pause at each graph, and see if you can come up with a real-life scenario for each graph using time as the x-axis, right? So, for example, if I were to create a story for the first one, which is increasing at a constant rate, I could start by saying, and it's always a good sentence starter to write, as time increases or passes by, right? As time passes by, let's think, what could I use for my story? I'll say, the number of miles driven increased at a constant rate. Okay, so you could create a scenario for each graph to really help you understand how this applies to the real world. What could you use for something that's decreasing at a constant rate? So again, common sentence starter for answering a question like this. As time passes by, I'll say the number of apples left at home decreases. Well, I guess the family's eating apples. And you could, you don't really have to look at the numbers to create the story. How about this one here? We could say, as time goes by, the number of, can you think of something that would be increasing at an increasing rate? How about something like a cold? The number of kids in the class who got sick increased. As time goes by, the number of kids in the class who got sick increases. Ooh, that is not a pleasant situation as we're currently in right now. Okay, how about this one? As time goes by, what can you think of? So here we're looking at a little bit better of a scenario. As time goes by, the number of sick people are increasing, but at a decreasing rate. So this is something that we would like to see in our current situation. Decreasing at an increasing rate. Can you think of a scenario for this situation? Decreasing at an increasing rate could have a scenario like this. A car is slowly decreasing its speed, then sees a deer and quickly slows down. So you can see that it's slowing down kind of slowly, and then all of a sudden, oh no, I see a deer, and it screeches to a halt. Okay. Decreasing at a decreasing rate. What can you think of for this scenario here? And it could be anything. So can you think of something? So this one here, I said a bathtub is being quickly drained. Then it drains slowly as the amount of water almost disappears. So that is an example of something that could be decreasing at a decreasing rate.